FAT16, originally called FAT File Allocation Table, is a 16-bit file system used by DOS and Windows 3.x. Windows XP supports FAT16 partitions up to 4 gigabytes. However, if backwards compatibility with legacy operating systems is required, the maximum size is limited to 2 gigabytes. FAT32 is the 32-bit version of FAT that can support disk partitions greater than 2 gigabytes and as large as 2 terabytes TB. It offers more fault-tolerance features than FAT16, but like FAT16, it lacks several of the features offered by NTFS. The NT file system, NTFS file system, provides features such as the ability to configure security on files and folders, options to compress data, the assignment of disk quotas, and the ability to encrypt files. Rank the 6 major stages of the Windows XP installation in the order in which they occur. Suppose you are the help desk support person for the InterSwift company. You have received a new computer in your office, and you need to install Windows XP Professional on it. You start by inserting the Windows XP Professional CD into your CD-ROM drive and rebooting the computer. And once the computer has rebooted, you have the option to boot from the CD. You take this option by pressing any key. The setup program inspects the computer's hardware configuration and takes you to the setup notification screen. You press Enter to continue with the installation. In the Welcome to Setup screen, you press Enter to set up Windows XP now. In the License Agreement screen, you read the EULA and press F8 to agree to the license terms. In the next screen, you need to specify the partition to use to set up Windows XP. In this case, you want to use the C drive, so you check that C is selected in the list of available partitions and press Enter. In the next screen, you specify whether the partition will be formatted using the FAT or the NTFS file system. In this case, you want to use the NTFS file system. You use the up arrow key to select the Format the partition using the NTFS file system option, and then you press Enter. You are warned that formatting the drive will delete all files on it, and that you should confirm that you want the partition formatted. The formatting procedure begins. Once the formatting has finished, the setup program copies the necessary files to the Windows installation folders. When the file copying process is complete, the computer reboots. This ends the text mode stage of the Windows XP installation process. The interactive GUI phase of the Windows XP installation now starts, and you will experience a series of information screens as the system performs the background installation tasks. The Windows XP Professional Setup Wizard starts for the Preparing Installation stage, and in the Regional and Language Options page, you click Next to continue. In the Personalize Your Software page, you type your name and organization and click Next. In the Your Product Key page, you type the 25-character product key and click Next. In the Computer Name and Administrator Password page, you can provide a name for the computer. In this case, you want to name it NYWS937. To do this, type NY-WS937 in the computer name text box and press Enter. Once you have typed in the name of the computer, you can also provide an administrator password. so you type the password in both the administrator password and confirm password text boxes and click Next. In the Date and Time Settings page, you set the correct date, time, and time zone for the computer, and you click Next to continue with the installation. At this point, the setup program installs the networking component files that are required if you have a network card or modem installed. In the Network Settings page, you can choose to accept the typical networking options or to create custom network connections. The typical settings installation will install the default networking components, such as Client for Microsoft Networks, File and Print Sharing, the Quality of Service QoS Packet Scheduler, and the TCP/IP protocol. You want to accept the default Typical Settings option, so you click Next to continue. In the Workgroup and Computer Domain page, you can choose to join the computer to a network domain in your organization. To join the computer to a domain, you can select the Yes, Make This Computer a Member of the Following Domain radio button and provide the name of the domain that you would like the computer to join. In this case, you want to leave the computer in a workgroup and will add it to the network at a later stage. You confirm that the No, this computer is not on a network or is on a network without a domain radio button is selected and click Next. In the Installing Windows stage, the Setup program installs the necessary components and Start menu items. It also saves the settings and removes any temporary files. This takes several minutes. During the finalizing installation stage, a Display Settings dialog box opens and informs you that Windows will automatically adjust the screen resolution. You click OK to continue. Once the screen resolution has been adjusted, you can log on to the computer using the Windows Welcome screen. In the administrator account, you type the password that you specified in the Computer Name and Administrator Password dialog box, and you click the arrow button. Once you have logged in, you are taken to the desktop. You are installing Windows XP Professional on a computer that will become part of the Interswift.com domain. You are already at the Workgroup or Computer Domain page of the Windows XP Professional Setup Wizard. Configure the settings to join the computer to the Interswift.com domain and proceed with the installation. Before installing Windows XP, you need to ensure that your computer meets the minimum requirements and that all the installed hardware on the computer is on the HCL. There are two methods you can use for installation, attended or unattended, and you can choose to install Windows XP from the CD or from the setup files on a network share. Before performing an attended installation, you need to decide how you are going to partition the disk and what file system, FAT16, FAT32, and TFS, you are going to use on the partitions. To start an attended installation of Windows XP Professional, you insert the Windows XP Professional CD into the CD-ROM drive and reboot the computer. Then you follow the setup procedure.